I brought my tea and it's piping hot for this episode. How are you?
Good. We have a lot to talk about. This boot order is criminal, but it did end on a good note.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about episodes 4 and 5 on this video. So for anybody watching, if you have not watched those, now is your spoiler warning that you need to go watch them and then come back and watch this video. My first note on the page is capital letters, love the breakfast room foliage. I don't know what it was.
What a first note, honestly. The foliage, it's killing it.
I was scanning the room, okay? And it just jumped at me. It's right there on that front table, and then it's all along that L shape. I don't know what it was. The colors were just different this time. Maybe I just noticed it for the first time. But listen, I loved it. It was giving, and if I was to ever have a wedding, which I never would because I don't believe in those. But it's not that I don't believe in the institution of marriage. I just don't believe in paying for other people to eat that I'm not going to talk to next week.
So
you know?
what you're saying is that you don't believe any one of your friends is actually married and in love. You don't believe that.
I'm not saying I don't believe in the institution of marriage. I just don't believe in the day, Like, just go to the courthouse. You'll be all right. Okay.
What a first note.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I love the foliage, and I thought it was like, I don't know, it was just giving. The issue that we had with this episode for the murder is that not everybody was up for murder. Episode 3 ended off with like, if you were left in a cage, if we saw you hanging from the cage via Wes Bergman and
Except their cages were more on the ground this time around.
And then we found out that they actually got strapped to a tree by a head's henchman.
Love that. Henchman,
who I think it was
you were confused.
I did just get back from Disney. Yeah. I think it was Eric that said when he came back from breakfast, actually, that like the henchman was scary. Was it Eric that said that? He was like, he was actually kind of scary. So left in the cages.
Someone said that, yeah.
Somebody said that. So left in the cages, you had Lisa, which who cares? She's a traitor. Kristen, Eric Nam, Ron, and Caroline. Prior to the episode beginning, my guess would have been Kristen or Eric, because I didn't think that they would want to go yet for a housewife. It's not a bad move, but I didn't think, it just seemed a little early. Plus, getting Kristen, she is in that Bravo realm, so to me, it was similar to getting a housewife. But my money, if I had to choose one, was actually Eric. What did you think?
I was also on the Eric train. And part of it is because like I'm such like a Survivor educer, so it's the logic of the edit. So like, which Traitors, it's really hard to analyze the Traitors edit because last season Ivor and Dolores were winners, and I could have never had told that in the edit. So it's like I'm trying to apply a Survivor algorithm to a completely different show, but I felt like Eric was showcased much more than Kristen. So I thought, oh, they're propping up murder. I thought there was no way Kristen goes. I'm like, there's no way they like murder someone on night 3 and only give her one confessional for the first 3 episodes. I just thought there's just no way that makes sense to me. Like, why even bring her if you're like, we're not even going to show her? Like, I felt like we were seeing enough of Eric that I was like, he goes, I thought there's no way they vote out Caroline. I thought housewives, I thought strategically it was better for them, but hearing them justify their reasons, I was like, okay, you know what? I actually buy it. But at first I was like, there was no way they kill Ron. Too much heat on him.
Ron and Michael Rapaport would have never been murdered. We do see later in the episode Candace kind of being like, I want Ron gone. I just hope I don't have to murder him because I don't want to waste it.
Yes.
But yeah. So it ends up being Caroline, to everyone's surprise.
Yes.
It was our first, on this season at least, our first face-to-face murder, which is really an interesting element that I actually like. It's one of the twists I really like. It makes it a little bit more risky for the Traitors. However, I have a love-hate relationship with it because this year I don't feel like I'm rooting for the Traitors as much as I have in the past. Typically, I'm always rooting for the Traitors, but this year I think because we'll get into this as we talk about this, but where the Traitors are really steamrolling, I'm an underdog supporter typically. So now I'm starting to feel myself like change and be like, I don't know. Like I want to root for somebody else. I don't know who to root for, but
I have a couple options,
but I
but
want to root for some. I do too, but I want to root for somebody else. So, anyways, why I have a love hate relationship with the face to face. I hate the murder in plain sight. I like it's okay. I can live with it. It's just not my favorite. But the face to face I like. However, it complicates things because when the people come back, they give the most asinine reasons that they think people are traitors. We saw that happen. And justice for this person.
yeah.
And I just think that it adds an interesting element, but sometimes it pisses me off. So that's why I have a love-hate relationship with it.
I am fully in love with this as a twist because there's such little evidence to catch a traitor. Like in The Mole, I don't know if you've seen the TV show The Mole.
Yeah.
But basically, at the end of the episode, you take a quiz to try and be like, was the mole wearing this outfit? Was the mole on this team on this adventure? So you can like deduce things. In the traitors, there's no way of like deducing things. So this gives them something. Even if it's fabricated, even if you mishear things, it gives some sort of compelling evidence to something. I also think the drama, from an entertainment perspective, that back and forth between the two,
it was fun.
Oh, it was
brilliant. We're gonna get into that because it was fun. The one thing that I think could improve this twist to where I don't have the love-hate relationship, because I do agree with you and I do like that. It's just that everyone's so bad at executing it. The faithfuls are so bad at executing it properly. I think if we just had better faithfuls, like in general, always, it would be better because we have people that like it's not consistent. Were there 2, 3, one person even said, I think every single one of them said a different number of traitors. Like you at least need to be like remembering that, and
but I will push back on that.
Can I
push back on that? We're both gamer mindsets. So that's what I kind of love about traitors is there are people who like, they never even thought like, well, what story do I need to tell from this event? Like, that's what I think is super fun about the traitors is there are people who are like, oh, I didn't even think that a quiz would come up. Like, I think that's fun, even though from a gamer mindset, I was like, how did you not think that?
Yeah, it's frustrating. I do like that there are the randoms that you're like, Sam Asagari, what are you doing?
Sam was one who brought up, hey, tell us a story. Like so even though he knows,
so like,
he
brought something. He started learning, but we have some people. So we have the Sam Asagaris who, over time, they start learning. Which I think Colton is kind. It pains me to say, but I think Colton is kind of
that eye twitch.
I think Colton is kind of.
We'll talk plenty about him later.
Yeah, we will. But then there's like Mara Higgins. Remember what was said to her in the car. Think of how crazy that moment on the first 3 episodes would have been. What was it, episode 1 or something? Like how? Because like Candace, like if you're gonna drop that, she dropped a real statement. So like if you're gonna drop that, like I think she should have stood 10 toes down. Honestly, I really think she should have. Like it. Why not? It's freaking Michael Rappaport. Like stand 10 toes. Let them fight at the round table. Who cares? But anyways, had Mara actually remembered and backed up Portia, totally would have been a better, it would have been more TV moment. Anyways, so let's talk about the like the people like at the breakfast as they came in and some of the things that they said, because I wrote a few things down. So Ron says, so what we're talking about is when the people are coming in one by one, we have all of the like people that you already know they're safe because they were not in a cage. And then you come out with the last few. Ron comes in and he says the traitors had to walk around him. So everyone's like repeating their story, giving a story as to like how it went down because they're all trying to suss out, is he a traitor? Is he not? So Ron says that the traitors had to walk around him a few times. He said it was, so he's the one that said it. It was very scary actually. In the confessional, which I'm a scaredy cat, so I probably would have been scared of I'm scared of the dark in general. So I won't take my trash out if it's already dark. So even though it's illegal in my city, I take it out at like 4:00. In the confessional, so this is not at the round table, this is in his confessional. he goes on to say that he thinks it's Mara because there were some very light footsteps. And my next note was, here goes Ron with more bad reads.
And here's the thing. I love it. I love because here's the thing. He's at least brave enough to throw something out. Half the faithfuls will be like, "Ugh, girl,
They're
I
just
don't know."
sitting
I'm like,
there.
you need to share something. If everyone shares their suspicions, you can find some truth in the middle. But if half the people aren't willing to share their suspicions, you're going to go off of other people's bad reads. So I love that he's able to be like, I'm observing, I'm like, he's still gaming, even though he's completely on the outs. I loved it. Even though it was wrong, I
Yeah.
love the mindset of like, I'm going to try and clue in on stuff.
Yeah, Stephen Coletti posted, I saw a video, he's on TikTok now, posted
Oh.
BTS. And he actually, on one of his videos, he said that these first few episodes, at least most, like a lot of people were trying to not cause a ruckus to themselves because a lot of people, I guess, from watching prior episodes, they didn't want to be Portia. They didn't want to be outspoken because you do see those people historically get picked off, and then you see like the rest of them end up floating their way through as good faithfuls. So not it makes sense why a lot of people didn't. And then some people I think didn't even think that far ahead, like Mara. I think they're there.
Like I get the mentality of like staying quiet, but I really appreciate when people speak up.
Yeah, I for my entertainment.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a good game move for you, but for my entertainment, please give me more. Give me more. Okay, so Ron also is he thinks that there are 3 traitors. Then
Which
we
is
have Lisa.
right read. He was right.
Then we have Lisa come in. And my immediate thought was, man, I wish she would have come in last. I know they won't do that for editing because then we will know who's
Yeah.
murdered before that. But I just wish that she wasn't the second. I really wish that she was either first, so she would give a complete different story and no one would have any additional questions to ask, or that she was like third or even, last, because for entertainment purposes, she's going to trip up more and maybe be caught. But so she comes in and of course they ask her what happened and she says, I need some tea or something. I need a little tea or something. Oh wait. I forgot something else. Salmon.
What?
What's with the salmon? The salmon obsession.
So
They are.
yes. Here's what I say. It's a fancy person breakfast food. I don't consume smoked salmon in the morning with my breakfast. I'm not a fancy
It
person.
must be rationed because like certain people at the end were like, you didn't save me any salmon.
Yeah. Well, there's I think only one tray of it. And so yeah, no, it's a I also don't like it. I tried it when I lived in New York. I did like bagel with lox or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I like salmon.
Yeah, I'm not for whatever reason, I don't like just I'll eat sushi, I'll eat like I just can't eat it's just not for me. It's not my journey. It's not my trip.
Anyways, that was just one little note I had because like it's becoming a theme of like, oh, there's salmon, and then after a few people come in, wait, I guess you guys didn't save me any salmon. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so anyways, so she's like, I need some tea. She says, I need a little tea or water or something. And then she gives a few little details that are like somewhat vague, but also like enough that they are like, okay, like also like give me a little more here, Lisa. Um and a few of the things that she said were that he pulled her back to a big maple tree and tied her up. She maybe didn't say tied her up, but he pulled her back to a big tree, and I think it was a maple tree. Like she's giving details that like you're doing a lot here. And she was beginning to say because she was saying she's a good faithful or something. Like she was begging him. She started saying she started beginning to say something like, I was begging him to make me stay because I'm a good faithful. And then Natalie's like, wait, why would you say that? Wouldn't that just like cause him to want to kill you? And like I'm shocked at Natalie being able to like call people out on little things like that. It like really it's working.
Have you seen Natalie's first season of Survivor?
Yes.
Okay.
I do like her. I just didn't think that was going to work on Traitors because
That's
you
true.
have so many
She's
non-gamers.
never been afraid to express her opinion.
But what I loved on the first 3 episodes when she came out and she was like, I want you to know I am a faithful. So when you see me aggressively going, I want to be the best faithful of all faithfuls. So don't think I'm a traitor because I'm not. And a lot of times that's risky. Like these clueless Bravo people could have been like, yeah. But they weren't. They believe her. And it's a fantastic game move.
Yeah, I think it's an oversight on Lisa to not have like prepared a thing, like knowing people are gonna ask. But I also didn't think it was as big of a deal because she did witness Caroline being tied up, like she was there. So she knew that they were tied to a tree, that they were blindfolded, that there were like she knew certain details. I do think she also overplayed it a little bit, like stating the type of tree is like, girl.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I think we even saw Candace in a confessional, like, what is she doing?
Yeah. But overall, I don't think it was that bad for her. I don't think it was that big of a miss. You know, if I'm like doing strategy coaching, I'm like, yeah, you could have cleaned that up a little bit. But overall, like Cerise said on Jared, hey, clean that up a little bit in Big Brother House.
Yeah, there were a few like
it was fine.
She didn't mention an axe, I think maybe.
No, she mentioned the axe.
She did.
Like, oh, but then later Kristen was like, yeah, there was a big axe.
Mentioned it, yeah. Because somebody was like, did Ron mention an axe?
Yeah.
And then somebody else mentioned an axe later, yeah.
Yeah. So I think she was fine. I don't think she oversold it. I don't think she undersold it. But I also don't think she sold it as well as she should have. Like, I think there's some nuance in there.
And then I think what she did at the end was fine because she goes, like, after she kind of was tired of telling her big story about maple trees, she was like, and Ron, how was it for you? And then it just kind of like flipped it, and that was great. Talk a little, and then she didn't talk a lot, but talk a little, and then flip it over to Ron, and then Ron essentially co-signs with what she says. So then we have Eric walking in, and I put, next is Eric. I'm low-key shocked. Because like I said, I thought it was going to be him. So Eric comes in and he talks about a man with a leather mask, and he brings up the axe, and then he says that there's 2 traitors. I don't remember if they asked Lisa the number, but I wrote down that he said 2 traitors. So now we're getting inconsistent. Like, we don't really know. It would be most helpful if they would remember the number, because that would be helpful moving forward. Because you can go, okay, if no more recruits happen, we know we've already gotten 2 or 1 down or whatever. So that's one thing that, like, I know you like it because you don't like care if they pay attention, but like it would, as a gamer mindset, it only makes most sense to at least remember how many.
Well, and I don't know if you listened to Rob Cesternino talk about, he feels responsible for Portia saying there were 4 traitors because he pitched that theory to her. He said, I think there was 1 person selected the first night, and then he said, I think Alan picked 3 others, so there's 4 total traitors. So that's where Portia,
which was true.
Yes, Rob had the right read, but it's like he was like, I kind of feel bad for Portia being like, girl, I gave you information and then you took it and ran with it. I feel, but like,
it was Portia's fault because she, if you don't maybe know her, but she wasn't capable of, like, when she said it, what she said wasn't even bad. Oh, there's 4, right? But when somebody else said something else back, like, how do you know that? She should have been like, well, I've watched seasons before. And she could have easily fixed her statements, but she wasn't really able to.
But yeah, I think that detail is important to note for all of them. Like, this is why I think Ron is actually quite smart and quite observant, being like, there's 3. I heard 3 footsteps. Even if he's wrong on Maura, like the fact that he was thinking I should pay attention to how they're moving. I love that strategic thought process.
And then we see Eric say that he was 99%. He says this in the confessional, not at the table. I am 99% sure that I was given a huge clue. He knows perfect pitch. And so he knows the tone of said laughter of said traitor matches someone, but doesn't tell us who, and does not mention it at breakfast.
Yeah, I get that you say 99% because you want to leave room for doubt, but I'm like, if you're that confident, if you're gonna say 99% certain, just say 100.
10 toes.
Like, if you are getting that close to being like, yeah, like, then just go all the way at that point. Like, why are you holding back? What is that like? Well, I did say 99%. Like, just say it and own it. Yeah. I will say that is something that I was thinking while they were tying people up. I'm like, I would try and like, if I could like fart on command or something, like to get a reaction.
I almost spit my tea out.
Because imagine if Rob is standing, Rob R is right there, and I go, traitors, I want you. Like, you know, he would give something. He would chuckle because it would be so put off guard. Like I would try to elicit a reaction from them. So I think it was really smart of Eric to kind of like tune in, being like, I hear something. I think that's smart. He was misguided, which I know that's Dylan's drag name, but he last season. I think it's a good idea to observe that, but I also feel like maybe we can get to this when we get to the round table.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that they are holding key information till the last minute. I think that's a very interesting choice.
Okay, so also Stephen Coletti, my new best friend on TikTok. I'm just kidding. Stephen Coletti actually mentioned this on that video today, and he said that I don't remember the person. It might have been Ron at the first round table or something. There was something that happened where he and several others really had no idea that was going to come up. That person, that maybe it was the Portia thing. I don't really remember. It was something, and that person didn't end up going. So then it kind of like that person was bitter the next. I don't really remember what it was, but somebody brought it up last minute. I think it was Ron brought something up last second. And he was like, okay, after that round table, I pulled everybody aside and was like, we can't be doing that anymore. We need to be on the same page. We need to know what's going on, but we can't drop names at the round table because it's impossible. People don't know how to vote. And then you could have at least like mutually decided on one person, whether they're faithful or traitor, but his mentality was correct. And then when you throw a name out there, a few people maybe like, and throw stray votes other places. So that kind of explained a little bit of like, to me, this whole last minute holding stuff in. I think people are afraid to to be wrong. And they may be more afraid now after these 2 episodes, but
I think the mentality is that they would rather be wrong at the round table where no one can mount a counter assault against them.
Oh.
Like, because that's why Colton waited to confront Tiffany at the round table, spoiler ahead. But like Eric waited to deliver that information. Ron waited. They wanted to hold that information back so that person couldn't prepare. But I'm like, but you need to get your.
Did you watch Dan? Did you watch Dan?
You got to get people on your side. There has to be a movement towards that. And like, I think at least of the 3 of them, Colton at least did it strategically the right way by rallying the troops, just not telling the target. So that way she was caught off guard. But I just like with Eric and Ron, I'm like, why are we waiting? Just get a group of people, share the idea. Like it's very interesting to me.
Yeah. So after we see the Eric thing, then we get a little clip, a little flash over to this live face-to-face murder the night before. And we see that it is Caroline that they chose to murder. And I said on my notes that I was shocked, but good move. I said shocked, but good move. And then we just have a little after breakfast chatting. We see Tiffany pull several people aside, and she thinks Ron, Michael, or Jam.
No, she thinks all 3 of them are like legitimate suspects.
Yeah, right. She brings up all 3 of their names. She says Ron, Michael, or Jam, and she says this to Kristen.
Yes. I'm kind of surprised at Tiffany in that regard because she was like, I think all 3 of them are traitors. I'm like, you think they're going to have an all-male turret? I was thinking they were going to do an all-female turret this season. I was like, there's no way they do an all-male turret. So that's why I was like, girl. But I think this speaks very highly of Kristen, that Tiffany goes, I think you're smart. I built a good rapport with you. Like, even though we haven't seen much of Kristen, like this is the type of Kristen's approach is how I thought she would play in the preseason, having known nothing about her. So I thought that was a really interesting move to pull Kristen aside and be like, hey, like, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, one downfall that we may potentially see later on Kristen's behalf is that she is getting close to Candace. Especially now that Tiffany's gone, I think that's going to happen more.
I actually think the exact opposite. I think it's not going to be her downfall. It's going to be her success, because I think Candace could turn into her traitor angel.
I don't want to spoil anything in the
Yeah.
future, but she doesn't seem to give a shit about being a traitor angel for other people. So we just
No.
have to hope that Kristen is able to like
But I
really
think
reel her in on that.
because where the direction Kristen is going, there's no
Yeah.
incentive for Candace to then take her out that way. That as long as
Yeah.
Kristen's not targeting people in the turret, Candace is gonna be like, I'll keep her in the game. Like she trusts me and she's going in another direction. That's exactly
Right.
what I need to hear. So I actually think it's a good thing for Kristen.
Maybe. So Candace says, you know, during all these chats, Candace says that she wants Ron out. We see this in the confessional though. She wants Ron out, but she doesn't want to waste a murder on him. Colton immediately starts working overtime. He is Chris Jennering this traitor's castle, making sure that everyone knows that he wants to go after, yeah, literally. He wants to go after Tiffany to the point where, like, he starts off in the kitchen. He starts off in one room. There's a group of people in there, and he's like aggressively just like, you know what? I'm going to go after Tiffany. That is my goal. That's who I'm going to round up votes for. And that the rest of the day, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be rounding up votes. He leaves. And then Mark Ballas, we finally see something from him. He looks at somebody and he's like, I think he looked at Candace and he was like, do you want to do this? And she was like, no. Like, you see, like, so I don't know how it ended up coming to fruition so much, but like, because he did go to other rooms and other people, but we saw a lot of edit of people being like, well, I don't really care to do that. I don't really want to do that. But it
Yeah.
might be one of those, the Traitors is one of those games, and other players have said this, especially the gamers have said this when they're done, is that like those roundtables suck because it's like anybody is, if my name didn't come up, okay. Yes, I think Tiffany's a traitor. Totally. Because you're just so happy that it's not your name. And so you're just willing to go with it.
I think there's three factors. One, it's a matter of self-preservation. You're not hearing your name. You're okay with a name being said. Secondly, someone is testing out a theory, and if they're right, great. We get out a traitor. If they're wrong, they become a target. Going back to point one, self-preservation. And point three is you get to see how other people react to that. Like how Mark was like, do you kind of side with that? But since there was no real momentum in really any other direction other than a couple people being like, I think it's Ron, it got hold. But and a lot of people said this in the castle. It wasn't Colton that got Tiffany out. He targeted her, but it was the information that was revealed by Eric that seals her fate.
Yes.
He got the ball rolling, but Eric was the one that.
And I got that vibe from the edit too.
Yeah.
I got that vibe.
And like Colton's giving himself credit for that, just like he gave himself credit for the Donna Kelsey boot. But I was like, girl, Natalie said her name at the very first roundtable at the very first chance. So like, Colton, I'm not gonna. You also didn't vote for her at the first roundtable, so like, I'm not gonna give Colton credit for taking out Donna, even though he's giving himself credit for that. But then he's the one who goes, "Well, I put Tiffany's name out there," but I'm like, you weren't the one that persuaded people. It was Eric. It wasn't you.
I used to be a Bachelor fan. All I will say is Colton is exactly who I anticipated him to be on this season.
And I knew nothing about him. Even his drama, I found out once the show started airing.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about him.
I was there along for that ride. It was a wild time. Yeah, he's not exactly the type of person that's going to take any accountability, but he is definitely the type of person that's going to take all of the accolades if given.
Oh, for sure. I got that just from the last couple episodes.
Yeah. Rob says that Colton's theory, so like in the next room he went to, Rob Roush ended up being in there just like on the couch and chilling. And Rob says Colton's theory, Oh, well, that's later when we have the overall.
Oh, that's right. The overalls are day two.
The overall moment. Colton's fashion, his looks are not looking. I do not like them. The pearl tie, it was all right until it started flapping when he walked away, and I was like, I just can't. The Princess Diana dupe sweatshirt, nope. Not happy with it. And he posted that on his Instagram. He was so gosh darn proud of that. So Rob says that Colton's theory was he's wrong, but he's smart.
Like
he's wrong, but he's smart. And he's like, I'm fine with letting him run with this smart but wrong theory since he's not going after a traitor.
Yes. like, as much as like I hate that he went after Tiffany, it's a like, if you hear someone pitch a really detailed, complicated strategy of like, well, they took out the traitors to absolve myself of like, and it's just like, well, I can turn that on you too. Like, he is thinking strategically. Don't love the conclusions he came to, but I will give him the slightest bit of credit for analytically not just going, yeah, Tiff, that sounds right. Like, he's pushing back on lots of people's ideas to try and come to what he believes is a correct conclusion.
I do think, as a faithful, though, I know that you like outspoken people or whatever, but as a game player, I think he's doing a little bit much.
Oh, doing way too much. I admit that.
Yeah, because it's like, this game only lasts so long, and not everybody can be like a Pilot Pete where they're like, he's too good, let's recruit him, which wasn't Pilot Pete the one that turned it down. But like, we've had that a couple of times where it's like, if we don't recruit this person, they're going to figure us out. Colton, I don't think, is giving that at this point in time.
Yeah, what I mean when I said earlier, like, they need to be sharing information, they need to be like, if everyone was playing at that level of like, I'm going to share all of my ideas and all of my conclusions, if all the people were doing that, not one person would stand out, and you would find, 6 people have also come to the same conclusion. That this idea, like I think that would also scare the traitors more. If everyone is unafraid of speaking up, who are the traitors going to target, and for why? Like I think where there's only 2 or 3 people that are outspoken, people can draw conclusions of being like, they're either a traitor or they're going to be murdered next. So that's what gives people the fear of speaking up. But if everyone was willing to be like, I'm going to lay stuff out and I'm going to do this, as much as I dislike Michael Rappaport and Colton, I feel like if everyone was at least willing to say, I think these people are it, I think that person is it, I think if everyone spoke vocally and not like kept it to themselves, I think one, it would be very entertaining, but 2, I actually think it could be very strategically effective, because then it would force the traitors to kind of show their hand of, well, I have to accuse 3 people now, whereas before they're, I'm just going to go with the group, but now they have to name names and come up with theories that like it could really make them uncomfortable. So like that is my thing. I'm like, it either needs to be, everyone needs to be outspoken, or if there's only a couple, they're going to be huge targets. So,
but that's pretty much all we got in that after breakfast chatters. We didn't get a whole lot. It was just heavy focused on Tiffany, and then also we saw a little bit of Tiffany's who the people that she may be wanting to go after. At this point in time, my thoughts were, oh shit, Tiffany. But also, because it was such an early edit of that, I was like, so I'm realizing that at least this season, giving us just like illogical edits, because nothing I've been able to like pick up from the edit has really helped me, because like typically what we'll see is like that Tiffany conversation will be a heavy conversation, okay, and then we'll see a few other things transpire, which we did. We saw Tiffany's people, we saw the jam thing that we'll get to, we saw a few things, but typically by the time you get to the round table, there's debating on multiple different things, but I think we'll talk about that when we get to the round table. But I was just at that point hopeful, because I think I even blue skied out. I was like, we're good. Like, it's fine. We're good.
I think that's because that's how Survivor edits their shows.
It is.
So I'm like, that's a very Survivor thing. The first 15 minutes, so-and-so's in danger. 20 minutes later, they have now won immunity and everything.
Episode, what, this past season, or maybe the season before, where they gave us the most obnoxiously obvious thing, and it actually threw us all off, and we were like,
I thought they always intentionally.
You didn't go with your regular cadence. Don't do that.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's a very that's why I'm like, when I like analyze the edit and like the logic of the edit, I have to be like, this is not Survivor. They edit very differently here.
And Big Brother does it too. Well, Big Brother gives us a last minute on eviction night, a last minute, oh no, it could be this person, and then it's never that person.
Or they're like, this plan came out of nowhere. We have to give the audience who doesn't watch the live feeds a little bit of information going into this.
Anyways, Okay, so then they go off to the, we didn't get much, so we go off to the challenge. And first of all,
Love,
Alan's little cheetah print moment. Loved it.
loved this challenge too. Loved it.
It was a cool challenge. So they had to do the little fire thing where they light the person on fire. I also the fact that they had to yell out the person's name.
Love. I have loved the challenges this season
Me
because the
too.
first season it was almost always just like, here's the money, and then every once in a while there's a shield, and in season 2 there's a shield here and there. But now you can get evidence and information, but there's also like, it's not just about, because these, like, most of these people don't need this money. They're also all making a very high appearance fee. So it's like, but like for me,
they have an equal stipend this year. They went to a
really?
different. Yeah, so this is
Oh.
BTS. I learned so much from these Patreons.
Yes.
This is the first year that they've done it. It's same company, same management company, but they have now realized they don't have to pay those other people top dollar. Like Brittany said that Ion actually, once she found out how much Brittany was making, she refused to tell her because she felt bad. She was like, oh, like she felt bad by the number that Brittany was given. And Brittany said most of those Bravo people were 3 times plus what she was getting.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but this year, allegedly through the grapevine, she has probably because she's besties with Ian. But she has found out that everyone is given the same amount, and it's likely because there are people willing to go on the show just because, like, there are housewives that are no longer even on the housewife, like Lisa Rinna, for example. Like, they're willing to go on just to be relevant again. It's kind of like Dancing with the Stars used to be, where it's like, I haven't seen this person in a while. They go on Dancing with the Stars. Like Mario Lopez goes on Dancing with the Stars and had a whole, like, he became famous again after not being on TV for 15 years. Anyways, so about the challenges though, they have to split up into the 3 teams again. They keep splitting up into these teams for these first initial.
There were 5 teams, 4 or 5 teams. They were teams of 3 or 4.
Okay, maybe that's. I didn't really put the number. I just put they have to split up and they're chatting, and immediately, somebody says something sus about Lisa.
Monet.
Yeah, Monet. Okay, Monet said something that Lisa said was sus or whatever. And then and then it's like Lisa's like, "Can I join your team?" And then I was like, I loved that moment.
Ironic, iconic. We love
about the team and the stop about the game and the stopwatch. I love that this year they're just trying so hard to make us believe that the stopwatch is real. At one point, Alan looks at a fictitious watch that was not here. He looks at his naked arm and he goes, "Go!" And I was like, "Come on now!" Like, so this year they are trying to make us believe that this pot of money is real and that the stopwatch is real. They even cut their time on the first block of episodes on one of them.
Make it in time.
But FFR, like they're promised a certain amount. What's gonna happen? I mean, by the end of the thing, they're gonna do a makeup challenge, and they're gonna, you know what I mean? Like it's they're gonna get that amount of money. By the
I think it was season 2 or season 3. They didn't get all their makeup money. They like the players were like, oh, we're running out of time. Let's just leave the $15,000. We don't have they didn't even one of the years they didn't get all of the money.
Was that the year that Kate was throwing stuff? She was like, I don't care. I don't want to carry it.
I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but
yeah,
I love these types of challenges where there's a lot of what I call social negotiation.
Yeah, no, I do.
Who are we going to target? Who are we working with? Where if it was just run and find a spear yourself and make a decision, it's like, I think it's way more compelling being like, well, you guys put a spear in mine. It's like they can blame somebody else. There's like, well, the 3 of us were there. We picked a name. Like, I think whatever, there's more possible chaos and information to me, more discussions about strategy. I love.
We also got our very first sighting of Mark Ballas in a confessional during this. He got nothing on the first 3 episodes. He even put on his TikTok, he was like, look, it was 12-hour days and there were a lot of people those first few episodes. So I get it. You'll get more of me, I'm sure, hopefully in the edit, but it kind of sucks because I really like him and I thought he had potential, but we're just not seeing anything.
I think we'll see plenty of him down the stretch.
That's what I was going to get to. I'm wondering if we're not. Now, the outlier on this, last year, Brittany Haynes, she got so much edit throughout the whole season that I kept thinking to myself, like, all right, we're just like, she's she's gonna go soon. But what I'm wondering if their cadence is gonna be, because we see people like Sam Asghari, who really didn't do a lot other than, yes, he asked some good questions and stuff like that. But like realistically, he wasn't a big player on the show, and he got little to no edit until, the moments that he got. So I'm like, is that going to be Mark Ballas, right? Is he going to have a few good moments? We're going to see it then and only then, or because he's clearly not getting the Brittany Haynes that we need you to be invested with this person throughout the season because they're going to be here.
Yeah, there's a couple things. There's one that involves TikTok that leads me to believe I think he could do really well. I feel there's a thing that happens later in the episode, which we can talk about, that I believe is going to make him increasingly relevant down the stretch.
I will be so happy with that. I will
And
be so happy.
they especially in this set of episodes, they keep cutting to Mark, even if he's not getting a lot of confessionals.
Yes.
He's like present, like you talked about earlier with that
He's
conversation
giving
with
little
Candace.
moments.
He's there. And I feel like, okay, here's my speculation when I saw this like a week and a half ago. He did a TikTok with Candace in Times Square.
He did.
And they were doing a dance. And I was like, does Homeboy get recruited by Candace? But now knowing
Wouldn't be a bad recruit. Wouldn't be a bad
now knowing how well Rob is playing, I just can't imagine that. I don't feel like they'll recruit when they're down to 2. I think they'll wait till it's down to 1 and recruit, because the traitors have the option. If there's 2 traitors, they can either recruit or kill. And I think they're gonna keep killing until there's 1 traitor left, and then they'll recruit again.
Yeah, they won't have to though. That's the difference. Is like in past years, they've literally, it was like they're down to 2, and then they're also like somebody else is on a witch hunt for one of the 2. So they know that if they don't recruit additional traitor, then what's going to happen is they're going to go down to 1 and then also lose their opportunity for that. You know what I mean? Like this year, they're probably going to stay with all 3 for a while, and they won't have to feel like they have to recruit.
Yeah, because last season, that was the debate. Danielle was only able to recruit Brittany once Carolyn was gone, because Carolyn's like, I'm not going to recruit Brittany, so we're going to kill, because I'm not going to do what you want to do, and you're not going to do what I want to do, so let's just keep killing. Like, which I actually think was a great negotiation tactic from Carolyn, being like, I'm not going to give up my leverage. We need to be 50-50. So I actually really agreed with that strategy from Carolyn, that I don't see a world in which Rob goes, if I'm going to be honest. I think Rob's going to make the finale. I think
he wins.
Yeah, I think he's an absolute end gamer, but I also think Mark is one of the faithful. I think he's a top 7. I think
if one of the traitors are going to be found out, if you would have asked me last week, I would have said Candace. She was messing up. She messed up a few times.
But I think
these episodes, she's turned it around. My now thought is that the first person to get sussed out will be Lisa.
Yep, I agree. But yeah, I think Mark Ballas will become very relevant going forward.
I hope so. I really like him, and I think he has it in him to do it. I just think that he's doing the mentality like with Stephen Colletti of like, I don't want to be a big player. And that's also Mark. He's super artsy fartsy. Like that's kind of how he is. So it clocks that that's how he would behave. Okay, so the challenge. Loved Alan's cheetah print moment. Ron gets burned first. Right off the bat. I don't remember who did it, but somebody was like, yeah, we want him up for for murder.
I think someone said, we know he'll survive. Like they're not gonna murder him.
That's what it was. Tara's team puts up Michael, and I put thank God on my notes. Well, Michael is very mad because Michael has a big reaction. He has big feelings. Michael has big feelings about a lot of things, and he goes after Tara. And I can't remember if it was because he knew that Tara's team was who went after him. I don't really know, but he
saw Tara being the one put the spear in.
Okay.
And as they were running back, they said, oh, Michael, they put Tara's group, put it in, like that group put it in yours.
Okay.
They said, who should we do? And because Tara was the one that put the spear in, I believe, he was like, let's do Tara. She did it for me. I'm going to do it to her. Like,
and he said, Tara, like 7 times. Wouldn't stop screaming it. So Candace at this point pulls Lisa Rinna aside because she has heard a little birdie tell her, the birdie being Monet, um, tell her that, something about saying Lisa's name. Like, I can't remember if it was that Lisa's a traitor or just that, like, they wanted to go after Lisa at the round table, but either way, Lisa's name was in Monet's mouth. So, little quick moment between Candace and Lisa. And this is where I was like, the Bravo fans are eating this up. The traitors are working together perfectly. And I don't know. I just find it a little fun when it's like, let the traitor go. But this was fine. This was good. This is exactly what Candace should do. I'm just talking about from my own personal entertainment standpoint. It is nice when the traitors don't like each other a little. I found it fun.
Agreed. I just think Candace was a little messy at first, throwing Lisa's name out and then getting in that Portia drama that I think she was like, I need to clean it up a little bit. I need to make sure. And Candace, I knew nothing about before the
It
season
wasn't
starts.
like a lot of detail either. It was just like, hey, this happened. I think we're okay, but this happened. Yeah.
I knew nothing about Candace before the season started. She was like a former like White House staffer in the Obama administration, went to like she is very smart, very articulate, very likable. I have been so impressed by how
I was disappointed the first 3 episodes. I can't lie.
Oh.
I had such higher hopes for her, and when she immediately was screwing up on a few things, like with the Lisa moment, and there were a few other things that she said that I was like, I just don't think that's a good move. It's in the past now because it was episodes 1 through 3, and now we're on 4 and 5. Because I turned a new leaf with her, I was like, okay, I feel so much better about you. I was concerned, like I said before, that she was going to be the first traitor to get snipped out.
100%. After the first couple episodes, I was like, I think she goes first.
She was doing a lot, and even Rob Roush, we saw some confessionals of him being like, Candace is, she's talking a lot. Yeah.
But what I will say, because I didn't have a lot of belief in her, because like coming from the gamer background, I was like, can she handle this? After seeing her adjustment and seeing the last 2 episodes of how she's played, I'm like, oh no, she's actually a gamer.
Yes. I
She's
came in expecting her to be like the Phaedra of the season.
Oh.
So
no,
that was my
I knew
expectation
about her. So I was like, oh, she's kind of messy, but kind of fun. And then now I'm like, oh, she's actually really smart and kind of fun. Like, I love it.
Yeah. Then next is Tara's group, and they let Tara pick because, like I said before, then it got to the point where they're like, okay, now they went after you, so we'll let you choose the next one. And she goes for Steven. This was when I was like, okay, Tara, you are dead to me. You're like DTM. Not because I love Steven that much or anything. I do actually was pleasantly surprised by some of the things that I saw from Steven on the first group of episodes. However, her reasoning behind it, she was like, I actually really hope like he doesn't go because I really like him. I really want to work with him. And I'm like,
I love it.
Okay.
No, because it makes no sense. I'm like, girl, I think her ulterior motive was protect Johnny because Johnny hadn't been put up for banishment yet. She's just kind of like, who's not Johnny? Steven. Like because for me, one of the big hiccups for me about the new era is everyone is a gamer. And I like, not that I miss that when everyone plays poorly all the time or when there's a large group of players, but I'm like, put a bad player in there every now and again. It's kind of fun. Like, I love it. I love it.
I'm with a bad player every now and again, but like this year, these faithfuls aren't catching on. We'll get to this, but these faithfuls aren't catching on to anybody.
To me, that's the beauty of Traitors, is that like it is like, I think Lisa Rinna commented on someone's TikTok the other day. She goes, it's mostly a game of luck. And I was like, right, which is I view Traitors I try and view it through a very different lens than Big Brother and Survivor, where I'm way more analytical on the strategy, because I'm like, they're in control of their fate, where on Traitors, they're not in control of their fate at almost any point unless they're a traitor. And so for me, I'm like, I view Traitors as much more of an entertainment product than a competition product. So for me, when Tara's like, Steven, I was like, girl, why? I love it.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I said on the first few episodes when I was so mad and I had to still get over myself. I had forgotten, because the last couple of seasons were so good and so gamer heavy. I had forgotten that this really is not a fair competition reality TV game show. The first season and probably the second season, my mentality was, what is this show? Because I really had that mentality of like, I don't understand this show because it's actually so unfair. but then I guess because gamers were doing well and like, doing things and providing me the entertainment that I wanted to see, not what the Bravo people wanted to see, I forgot that this is not a game show. This is a show about entertainment. However, the one pushback I will give to your statement is I don't always, if I want to go watch Housewives, I'll go watch Housewives. However, like when I do watch a show that's a game show, I do want to see a little bit of strategy, and I also am fine with seeing those bullet moments. Like for example, season 2, I guess it is, with Janelle and Sandra. You see that you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, you're a bitch. That had nothing to do with game. It was just Janelle being upset.
Oh, you got nervous?
Yeah. It was just Janelle being upset that she was about to go home. That's all that was, and that's all that will ever be. However, it stemmed from a little bit of strategy because they were gamers. They knew what was about to happen, and they, Janelle just went off, right? But like Rappaport, for example, it's just not, that's not entertaining to me. Even like the Portia thing. The Portia thing, actually, honestly, my biggest upset this season, aside from the gamers leaving, was Portia. Like, she would have provided us, I know you don't know the Housewives, but like Portia would have provided us with a lot.
I saw some clips of people being like, she thought the Underground Railroad was like an actual train.
Oh, yes.
She thought there was 200.
No, wait. I have to tell you more to that.
Oh, I've watched the clips. Like people were like, is this where the train stopped for the Underground Railroad?
No. Do you know why that's even more funny? Is it because she said it? Yes, that's hilarious. Her family has a long, extensive, probably hundreds of year legacy in being civil rights activists, and they were visiting like a family member's like museum or something to that effect. And so it was even funnier because it's like that's how she got on the show. She was married to a famous football player, and then she also talked a lot about who her family was. And then they go do this, like, finally she gets her big moment where they do all this civil rights stuff, and then she's like, so where's the railroad? And everyone's like
It's great.
Oh, so that's why it's even more funny. But yes, also her pulling Kenya by her wig is always my favorite. However, you should know that Kenya would have been the better choice this season since Rappaport was on there, because Rappaport and Kenya have a known beef. And Kenya is probably kicking herself that she's not on. Yes. Yeah, the watch on. Kenya will eat him up. Kenya did eat him up. Ron goes and burns Mora because he thinks that she's the traitor because of the light footsteps and she's a light person. And he wants to see if she survives. This made sense, and I know you're probably going to argue with me on this, but it also didn't make sense to me because, like, if you think she's a traitor, she's obviously going to survive. So honestly, like, and also the round table was going to come before the murder. So to me, like, that plan didn't make any sense. If you really think that Mora is a traitor, you're going to go out and just go after her at the round table. Like, I mean, I get it. You got to burn somebody, but also like that specific reasoning, I don't care.
Yeah, I interpreted his logic as, if my theory is right that you're a traitor, you're going to survive. And if you are eliminated at night, then my theory is wrong. Like that's how I interpreted it, that like this was his way of like trying to gather some semblance of intel, because if she dies and he goes, I'm on the wrong path, but if he survives, you can.
Given the number of people up for murder, if there were 5 people up for murder, I'd be like, that's a great plan. But given the fact that there were like a lot of people this time up for murder.
Fair and valid. I was just trying to think like what was his mindset behind that, and that's where I think it was, because he's like, well, this is my only suspicion right now, so I'm just gonna go all in.
You also have to burn somebody. You know what I mean? Like somebody's ass has got to get burned. So just pick whoever.
And if he's like, if I'm already gonna say her name, I'll burn her. That way I don't have to burn 2 people.
It wasn't bad. It just wasn't. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I was like, I guess, like that's
why not? Knock your socks off, Ron.
Yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at. I'm like, hey, I applaud the guy for being like, I have a theory, I'm gonna see it through.
Next is Johnny, and the reasoning was he hasn't been up for murder before, which is fine.
I get that. I get that, being like, hey, we all have to go to bed scared sometimes. Like,
well, and also, I mean, if you were to ask, that's what your answer is. Hey, like we noticed that you haven't been up for murder yet, so we are just trying to make it fair. Johnny, I like him. I didn't think I would give a crap about him. I did watch him on like Dancing with the Stars and stuff, so I got it. But like him falling in the lock, him having a baptized moment in the lock. It was just, and then he gets back. Like the way he gets back up, so flustered and confused. I loved it. It was fun. Fun note on Stephen Coletti's video, he also told us that he too fell into the lock, but it was intentional because their boat apparently got stuck. And apparently that first competition lasted a long time. And Stephen also said that the water was freaking cold, freezing cold, and he got very, very sick after that. And he was actually worried that other people would want to vote him out because he was getting producers sick at that point. And he was like, I'm afraid that nobody's going to want to get sick and they're just going to want me out of here.
I think he mentioned that in the People interview I watched. He said, I got sick from the lock and I was sick for several days, which I think explains, yeah, maybe he's a smaller personality, but if you're sick, you're not exactly going on a crusade. So it's like that could probably explain some of it passiveness.
Passive, yes, that was another reason that he gave for that. He was like, I felt like crap. He was like, I was sniffly, like I was awful. And they could have also kept him out of the edit if he was like breathing weird into the mic, you know. Okay, so then Johnny goes up because he's never gone up for murder before. Mark, and I said Mark Ballas, this is my next note. Mark Ballas is actually getting a little bit too much edit all of a sudden. Now I'm concerned because he started getting a lot of moments here.
That's definitely a Survivor thing. Oh no, a visibility spike. They're going this episode.
Yeah. And so Mark's group is up next, and he was going to choose between either Jam Jam or Dorinda, and I think it was because like those were the only two people that weren't in his group at that point.
Well, no, there was 8 people got a shield that night, so 3 people were in that group. So then there was, and then I think they were, remember correctly.
For some reason, it came down to him having to choose, and I don't know if it's because they ruled other people out or because everyone else was in their own group or something. But he was like choosing between those two.
Jam Jam had some suspicion thrown on him from Michael, and a lot of people were talking in the house like, well, maybe Dorinda, like this is, I think maybe Rob said this, but a lot of people speculated Dorinda was a traitor because like why else would they bring her back? Like they brought her back as a traitor to like get like so like I think the reason why they came down to Dorinda or Jam Jam is those were 2 names that they had probably heard throughout the house of the remaining people.
Yeah, so they go down to those 2, and everyone's like, who's it gonna be? But we already knew from spoilers from the commercials, which they are so not careful with
I
their
didn't
commercials.
See it.
You didn't see the Jam Jam crying commercial?
No.
Oh, well, they showed a commercial of Jam Jam in that crying scene. So you knew that that's what the challenge was. So if you had watched that commercial, so Mark's like, okay, I'll just do it. And he goes and he burns Jam Jam, and then we get the Jam Jam crying moment. The chat BCC was cracking me up because Carolyn's like, those are real tears. Like she's 10 toes down for.
No, I think you were mistaken earlier when you said Johnny's never been up for murder. Maybe they were, because Jam Jam had a shield every night. Because Jam Jam didn't have a coffin in his thing the first night. He took one of the.
They didn't say that Johnny was the only one. They just said they were choosing Johnny because.
Okay, yeah. I was like, yeah, maybe I misheard that, but I'm like, he was on the chariot. Like Jam Jam has always been safe from murder.
So Tiffany as well. Like the first 3 episodes, she also like. That's why I think that the particular gamers we saw go out first, it was just because we were going to see gamers go. Those gamers just had no safety.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, so Mark Ballas chooses to go after Jam Jam, and Jam Jam cries, and immediately Mara says, he's pretending to cry. Why is he doing this?
Love
and then that's when Carolyn gets attacked. Those are real tears. I'm like, okay, Carolyn.
See, this is why I have to
be his biggest supporter.
This is why I love a lot of the non-gamers, because Mora's just like, that's fake.
Yeah, like, she was. Like, she was like,
I love it. I love it.
Okay. These gamers, they poor, okay? They don't have money like you. You are on Bravo because you had money before you got on the Bravo to be a housewife. So when people are literally crying, it's because they need this money. Like, what does Jared do for real life? What's his job? Like, do we
He
know?
owns a salon, but he did win $1 million on Survivor.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But yes. But
He's a salon
realistically,
owner.
like, okay, so it's like a nail salon, isn't it?
It's a hair salon.
Oh, I don't know why I thought he did nails, but I thought maybe he made a comment about doing nails.
Maybe
I
the
mean,
salon does both, but I
cosmetology in
know he's
general. Yeah.
talked about how he cuts hair and stuff.
And then his husband does clothing,
Fashion.
right? He's a designer.
Yeah.
Okay. But either way, okay, Tiffany, like she was a phlebotomist. Like you've got people that are regular, like Brittany said last year, on her Patreon and stuff, like it was really difficult to even like converse with some of these people because like they are not gaming in the downtime. They're like making connections because they all have mutuals in California and they all have like, oh, who's your agent? They all have Andy Cohen as a mutual connection and they can spawn out from there. This is a stepping stone for them to be on TV, to get as much airtime as possible, to be on the next thing. Whereas Tiffany is there because what are they winning? Traitors, I don't even remember.
Up to $250,000.
$250. So that $250, that will pay for her son's college. That will like so many things for her. Like Brittany Haynes last year, she's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like she's gonna go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma when she's done, right? Like she's not a celebrity. So that's why I think people like Mara but it's funny, yes, but that's also why they don't get it. Like, no, those actually probably were real tears because he's like, shit, I'm a gamer. I now do not have safety.
And I've had
next. I've already seen my other 2 gamer buddies go.
Yeah.
All right. Tiffany tells Mara in the car, though. So now they're leaving. They're in the car. Tiffany tells Mara in the car that Ron says he thinks that she's a traitor. So this is again where I'm like, oh, like, okay, so now we're seeing a little bit more of Tiffany, like, so I'm like, again, that survivor mentality must be getting to me because I'm really thinking like we're gonna keep seeing more of this. Eric, again, another confessional. Again, I have this undeniable clue. 99% sure. I haven't brought it up yet. I'm pretty sure it was the same like confessional. They just replayed it to us again. But like
in that moment, who did you think he had heard when he said that?
I thought it was Candace.
You thought it was Candace?
I thought he was okay. Well, like who he was going to say, you mean? Not
like whose laugh did you think he heard?
Actual laugh?
No. Like what name did you think he was gonna say?
Candace. I really thought he was going to say Candace, and I thought he was going to be right. You don't really see Lisa having a weird laugh, and it didn't feel to me like he was indicating it was a male's voice.
Yeah, I thought it was Lisa because I think like it could have been like a scoff, like a huh, or whatever, which maybe she did in the castle or whatever. I was thinking it could be Lisa.
And the way that they played it, I was like, okay, I guess he's right, you know?
Yeah,
now I know that I guess I'll never need to listen to his music because his pitch is not on par. Okay, so now we go back to castle. They've changed their clothes, they're eating their dinner. Mora's patent leather skin tight dress is slaying. Her hat, not so much. Did not like
thought it was fun.
But the patent leather skin tight dress I loved.
And I'm not like a fashionista by any stretch of the imagination. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
Okay, so Colton is now aggressively going after Tiffany. He's rounded up more people. He's rounding up more votes. He tells a room of people, again, same plan as what he did at breakfast. He tells a room of people, and then he moves on to the next room, and he tells a room of people, and he moves on to the next room. At this point, what were you thinking about it all?
My first thought was, no one's telling Tiffany? No one gave Tiff the heads up. That's what was shocking to me. I was like, Tiffany, like, I thought you had Kristen. I thought you had Candace. Like, I thought you had, like, so many other people that were, like, on your side. No one was like, hey, just, Colton's going after you. Not one
They told her in the morning. I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody we saw tell her. But no, at this point,
I guess maybe to the extent that, like, I think
not
she
to a big extent
come up. I didn't think she realized she was the target. Like that's where I'm like, Kristen, Candace, like, just be like, hey, Tiff, Colton's launching and attacking you. You're his target.
Because Candace was clear that she liked Tiffany, wanted her to stay. So I didn't understand that. And I definitely want to talk about that when we get to how the votes landed, which is going to be next
But I
year.
actually understand why Candace didn't do that because considering how much she's already like kind of stuck her neck out a few times, I think she was kind of like, I'll speak up, but I can't lead the charge like away from her because that would be too suspicious.
Yeah.
But I think her willingness to not go along with the plan, I think kind of presented her as faithful to other people, being like, I just don't believe she is. Like, I think the way she played it was good for her.
Yeah. So we ended up having two votes for Ron, which was Candace and Michael. So
No, there were
she
more, I thought.
no. So
I thought all the housewives voted for Ron.
I have Tiffany is the only person that voted for Jam Jam, which annoyed
Yeah,
me
I
because I
knew
was like,
that.
you should have voted for Ron.
I was like, girl.
But Candace and Michael is all I had written down for voting for Ron, and then votes for Tiffany. I had Johnny, Kristen, Jam Jam, Dorinda, Natalie, Rob, Mark, Tara, Steven, Ron,
Oh, you're
Mara,
right. I was
Lisa,
thinking the
Colton,
next
Eric.
round. You're
Yeah,
right.
you
I
were
was
thinking of
thinking
the
the
next
next.
one.
I was like,
Yeah.
no, I swear there were like 4 people. It was the next round.
Yeah, you must have been thinking of the next one. So I was a little bit shocked about the vote where Candace stayed with Ron, um, because the other traders didn't. And so I don't know if she didn't talk to them about that, like, because I was like, okay, like when she voted for Ron, I was just really thinking that okay, maybe the other traders she's talked to them, maybe some of the other housewives she's talked to, like I don't know, I was confused.
I actually think so many people came into that roundtable open. I truly think it was Eric's evidence that sealed Tiffany's
Yeah,
fate.
for Ron.
I think Candace's thought process was, I'm gonna just stick to what I want. I told everyone I'm voting Ron. I'm gonna own that and be consistent. And like I actually also think it's good that the traders also vote differently when they're voting out faithful.
Yeah.
I think that actually helps, like, because then there's no consistency being like, well, these three have always voted together. It's like I think it's good for all of them to vote differently to conceal
I
their unity.
genuinely didn't understand how more people didn't believe. Of course, we're, Monday morning quarterbacks over here, but I didn't understand how people didn't believe Tiffany like when she started genuinely crying. The Jam Jam cry, I guess I could understand how that would come off a little bit different because it wasn't like he was actually at
Yeah,
stake at that moment. It was
it was
just,
one of
oh no,
10.
I'm up for murder. And then Morris were like, the rest of us have been like,
Yeah.
but in this moment, it just felt so different. And
I
so
agree.
I did feel like it was odd that she got so much of an overwhelming vote. Um, yeah. I mean, some were obvious that I thought would go for her, but some I was just like, I don't know. I don't get why they
I,
didn't see it.
I think 7 to 10 of those votes were swayed by Eric. I really do. I
Yeah.
think most of them were kind of like, well,
Dorinda said it afterwards.
yeah,
So after the when they left the round table, everyone was shocked and crying and upset. But after they left the round table, Dorinda was like, Eric really put it in the coffin for me. And then you have this little moment where Colton looks at Eric and he says something to the effect of like, basically like, yeah, this is all your fault or whatever. And Eric's like, not like it hasn't been yours before or something
yeah. I
like
think
that.
Eric said something like, "Oh, well, whatever." And yeah, and Colton said, "Well, you also." He said, "Oh, like it sucks that to be responsible for." And he's like, "Well, you were too." And it's like
Yeah,
both were. Like we both were.
we
So
both
no,
were.
yeah, there was that. There I saw the interaction when they were going to bed. Um,
So then they go to the turret. And they very, 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 very quickly roll out Ron and Michael. Good choice. You don't need to waste a murder on them.
absolutely.
They will go eventually. You don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
And they're also not really catching on to the right people either.
Right.
And then Lisa mentions again about the Monet thing.
No, Candace.
Does Candace bring it up? They start
Oh, sorry.
talking again about the Monet thing.
Lisa
Um,
followed up with, "Did anyone else hear it? Did Monet tell anyone else?" And
yeah.
Candace was like, "I don't think so." And that's when I was like, "Damn it, Monet's gone."
And then
Like,
Rob is like, well, no, because I wasn't sure yet. Because Rob goes, well, we do need Monet for missions. Which dinged in my brain, oh yeah, that could be another reason why Natalie has been sitting so safe, because Natalie is a freaking
She's a beast.
machine gun. Give
Yes.
me the workout.
And
Actually don't. I don't want to die. Like
well, and this is why, like, with suspicion kind of landing on Colton, and if he gets banished soon, I think that basically gives Natalie a shield because they're like, well, we're never going to banish Natalie. And if you're Rob, you're like, well, I don't want it to be me alone doing all these physical challenges. I need Natalie there.
we
Like,
have
I
some
think
people this
Natalie's strength is
season.
going to help her immensely.
Yes, we have some people this season, which is an interesting tactic on this
Yes.
game versus others, because on other games, it's like, cop beast, no thank you. On this game, it's like, we don't really want to work that hard.
Yeah,
Like
literally.
we have Candace upset and worried. We'll see this on the
She's
next
getting wet.
episode that she's gonna get a yeast infection. So who's gonna watch my coochie? And Mike Bloom tweets
Which
that out with no other context. He's like, "Hey, no context. Who's gonna watch my coochie?"
I was like, oh, that's an iconic phrase. I love that they just did
Iconic.
that.
So we have people that are just haphazardly trying to act like they're playing. But in all actuality, like the big heavy lifters have been somebody like Colton, Natalie, Monet. So I was a little bit surprised that it did end up happening, because it does feel to me like whatever Rob wants, not that they're arguing at all, but like it does seem like they are respecting Rob and
Yeah.
his traitor opinion.
Can I go back to do one? I forgot to say one thing about
Yeah.
Candace's behavior in the hero. I think I made a video about this on my TikTok. I
And
think
the episode ends with this. So now is your time to like whatever additional thoughts.
empathy is a very underrated skill in both Survivor, Big Brother, and Traitors. The fact that Candace was able to speak up and like defend Tiffany in a way and also get emotional without drawing suspicion shows that Candace is very well liked and well respected by this group. It also shows that, like, if Candace doesn't believe you're it, she's not going to just throw your name out willy-nilly. The fact that she goes, I don't think it's Tiffany, and like I like the fact that she was getting emotional, and I understand that there was like more to it, but I think Candace's capacity for empathy is actually going to drive more people towards her to work with her and to protect her, which, a lot of times people say, well, you got to be heartless and ruthless to win these games. I'm like, there is space and there is validity to people being just kind and compassionate and understanding to people and having it being great strategic moves. And that was something that I really wanted to highlight with Candace's game, is like that empathy, that moment of like human to human with Tiffany in public was, in my opinion, a great move, even though she wasn't doing it as a move, but it signaled to everyone else, you can be vulnerable with me because I'll be vulnerable with you. And like, I got you. Like, I thought that was really good of Candace.
Yeah, I agree with that. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight from episode 4 before we move on to episode 5? Because episode 4 ends at the turret, as you know.
Yeah. No, I think we kind of hit all the nails on the head. I'm trying to go through everything. I'm like, I think we got it.
Okay, so moving on to episode 5. My first note says, OMG, what's with the salmon obsession? Because again, they're talking about the salmon. So they go to breakfast, and people are seemingly still regretting the Tiffany thing. I feel like this year we're not having as much of those hard feelings from people like we typically do. They are giving their little toast for Tiffany or whatever. Or toast for, typically, like it would be like Monet or whatever, whoever was murdered the night before. So Dorinda talks shit on Ron, which was kind of funny at early morning breakfast. We also have Colton wearing an ugly sweater vest with nothing underneath it, and Rob wearing overalls with nothing underneath it. I've since learned that that's apparently something that he did on
all
his
of Love Island. Yeah. Same. I
on
also
all of Island. So I was confused, but then after the episode, I was like, I guess it makes sense, but also like, okay, we're just not wearing shirts anymore, boys. And he's also
producers were like, hey, who's got like shirtless outfits? Okay, you're gonna wear them on the same day. Like your sun's out, guns out. Because wasn't this the day that Alan also wore a cutoff?
That is what they do. So Brittany actually just said this on the Patreon the other day, that to someone, that when you pack, they make you like send. I mean, you bring your own wardrobe, but they make you send pictures of like the stuff you're bringing, and they do kind of plan to coordinate, like for this specific challenge, they want everyone to kind of be cohesive in this way or whatever. So yeah, they definitely planned that all of them would do those things on the same day. Because realistically, if that was his shtick, then they would have just had him doing that night one. But I think they wanted to bring it out at the same. They wanted, yeah. Anyways, okay. So he's naked underneath his overalls, and Colton's naked underneath his sweater vest. Mora says there's something fishy about Colton because he took a big swing and missed. And then I was like, finally! Oh, I mean, she was wrong, but at least she had a thought.
Here's the thing. I think she has had lots of thoughts. I do. I think there's, like Mark said, like there's so much that gets edited out that they're gonna show a lot of, and maybe I'm gonna give.
She's thinking a lot.
Maybe I give too many players too much grace, but I was like, there's literally thousands of hours of footage. I'm sure she said something strategic in the first few episodes, and they just didn't show us that. But
based off the edit, I get. Just judging her based off my edit, I get, and I was happy because for a while I was like, she's not tinking much at all, but now she's tinking. Okay. I said no one wants to see Ron, LOL, because it just felt like nobody was like. Ron comes in, it felt like everyone was like.
And this is one thing I will actually be very upset with this cast about. Normally I will like be like, well, I've never done one of these things. Why is Ron being raked over the coals for being wrong about Portia, but no one is ostracizing Colton or Eric?
Because Ron doesn't have a community, thus he doesn't have a voice. But I mean, I'm just telling you that's why. Like he doesn't have friendships right now.
I get it, but like why? Like immediately after Portia got banished, it was.
He also was very, very, very much a supporter of Donna Kelsey, and she turned out to be a traitor. So I think that is a little bit of a difference. He did not want her coffin put in there at all. He fought hard for that, but it ended up happening anyways. And he kind of fought for her at the round table. So I think that adds an element.
I get all that, but I'm like, if you think he's a traitor, like, wouldn't you want to be kind to him so he doesn't murder you? Like that's the sort of thing. This, like, I'm like, if people are smart, like if you think he's a traitor, just be kind to him. Like,
are they smart?
Yeah. So
we've talked about this already. Like,
but
we're not dealing with the best faithfuls this season.
But I think with with the person who got banished at the end of this episode, I think that's gonna somewhat exonerate Ron because everyone had lumped those three together of Donna, Michael, and Ron because Michael and Ron defended Donna. And then they vote out Donna. Donna's a traitor. So they're like, oh, we're suspicious of these two. Now that Michael's gone, he was a faithful. It could be like, oh, maybe Donna just treated them as her minions. And like, I think even though he's not making like social bonds with people, I think there will come a world where people are like, well, what's the point in voting out Ron? The trait, I think people will turn and be like, I actually don't think he's a traitor anymore. Like, I think the tide will shift, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. So,
yeah, maybe.
I just think that we're not dealing with the smartest of fables, and your expectations are awfully high right now.
Fair point.
I mean, realistically, they're not. I mean, Natalie has a lot of potential, but we knew that going into all of this. Jam honestly doesn't. He's gonna go soon. Like, I just don't think he lasts very long.
I just wonder when will they take out Ron? Because like Colton's starting to get some heat on him. Jam has some heat on him.
They won't. Ron will
I think Ron might just.
He'll stick around a while.
Yeah, like, I think at a certain point someone will be like, maybe he is. Like I think some people will come around to Ron.
Sure.
And maybe it's the group that I really want to talk about from the end of the episode.
So Colton catches a couple strays at breakfast. So they start talking about his past. I guess there's a few people that didn't know about it. But what surprised me about this is, I don't know if they just edited some of it out, but like they only talked about the one thing. No chatter. Like you could tell people's, especially Natalie, you could tell her face was like, she knew who that man was. She knew his colored past. But she wasn't bringing up that stuff. So I don't know if it either got taken out on the editing table or if no one wanted to actually bring that part up. But it was like some of the comments Colton said back, it was like he was kind of alluding, like Dorinda said something about, oh, I missed you as a heterosexual, and then he was like, you didn't miss me.
You
You
dodged the
dodged a
bullet.
bullet or whatever. And I was just like, okay, so we're making references to it, but we're not. So I don't know. It was a little weird. So I just wonder if it got cut. If it got cut.
Probably.
Which I did also wonder later if it got cut because of Michael Rappaport's stupid statement. I did wonder if he, like, because all that stuff was talking about, maybe he was also referencing like Colton just in general, keeping secrets from people, being not a great person. I know that, I don't know. I'm not a part of that conversation because I'm not a part of that community, but just saying like maybe he was additionally referencing Colton not being a wonderful person in general. I don't know.
I think for the producers, they probably cut that because there's probably legal ramifications of that sort of thing. Maybe it's there's still an ongoing case.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, because he gets like targeted at the roundtable by Michael in that way, they probably don't want to portray. They probably want to portray him sympathetically.
You're probably right.
Like so that I'm trying to like rationalize, like if it got brought up and it got cut, what would it be? My first thought is there might be like a legal issue, but because then there also might be like a perception issue. Is like, well, if you know this from his past,
so you didn't know Colton
at
that time. So what happened was when all that did happen, when he came at like when that happened, when the restraining order was filed and she came out and said all the things she said, he came out and owned up to it. So like while there could be legal ramifications, he did own up to most of it. And then, but he immediately went on Good Morning America or Good Day Today, whatever it was, and he came out as gay. And I mean, who knows when his journey with that began? I don't know. I'm not judging. You do what you do. But it felt very calculated and intentional that he chose that exact moment, because it was like, oh, I'm getting all this other heat about this. And then as soon as he did it, he got a reality TV show called Coming Out Colton. He got, I mean, you probably have seen the clips about all the things that have happened to him since.
I've heard of
So he had the Coming Out Colton. He written a book. He has been on multiple reality TV shows since then. And it was like he was recently on one this summer about virgins dating. Yeah, it was on Hulu or Netflix or something. Yeah. So it was about dating virgins because he was the virgin bachelor. But it's just been interesting the amount of opportunities he's been given after actually additionally somewhat owning up to what happened, but only one time. He only owned up to it once, and now we're done. Okay. So we find out Monet is the one who is murdered, and my comment was, Monet, WTF. And I said, in all capital letters, I really hate this show. Okay, Alan with the murder shirt. Because Alan comes in with the murder shirt. And then what's her name in chat? Sandra in chat BCC, how do I get one of those murder shirts?
I hate the Monet murder because I love Monet.
I loved it.
But from a strategic point of view, from the traitors in the turret, it was 100% the right call.
Honestly, if I was Candace, let it go. He wasn't on to me.
Fair.
I know, it's fine. You want to be team player, that's great.
No.
But like...
No, I get it. I think because... Yeah. I was thinking going into the episode that I'm like, they're probably going to say probably someone random like Johnny Weir. Like that's... And they talked about like, do we just do a random kill? But I think the way they're approaching these kills is smart, and there is strategy behind it. And since
I wish we got to see more of it, though. That's one complaint I have. Are
so misguided, the traitors shouldn't shake up their strategy.
I wish we got to see more of the edit of the traitors coming to those decisions. I feel like I'm missing out on how they come to these good decisions.
Because they want to leave us on a cliffhanger on the episode.
Yes, but they have an opportunity after, because they do show a little after the murder. I wish they would just, there have been times that they've shown us more. Like last season, we got a lot because we were arguing. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So Monet wasn't a bad choice, but I'm really sad about it. And then what Alan said made me laugh. He said, he came to play, but today Monet sashayed away. But he said it very quickly. He came to play, but today Monet sashayed away. Boom, and threw his thing down.
Love it, love it, love it.
Okay, so then the after breakfast chatter was just basically Ron says it's Michael or Dorinda, he believes at this point. Now he's throwing Dorinda into his theories. Doesn't mention Maura anymore, just Michael or Dorinda. Colton thinks it's Ron, of course. Kristen thinks it's Colton. And that's pretty much it that I have to say about breakfast. Anything you have? And
I think his logic behind, because Dorinda was always defending Michael, because Dorinda's known Michael for years. Like, that's just how he is. I get it. I get it. But it is suspicious as someone who, doesn't interact with Dorinda and Michael on a regular basis. It's kind of odd that she's always defending Michael. Like, if I was Ron, I think that's a rightful conclusion to come to. Like, why is this woman always defending this man?
Yeah.
Like, I get the logic.
And we had more talk about, oh, Monet was so good at the competitions. And I wrote down like all this talk about who's good at competitions as if they really matter. I'm still not convinced they really matter.
I think they make them do them. Like, they're exhausted when they do those things, especially like the one in the lock where if you said they were there for several hours, like, these are physically grueling challenges.
Yeah.
Pushing those chariots that, like, I think these players value the players who are good at competitions very highly.
Yeah. So I didn't so we go do the challenge. It looks like I didn't write down any notes about the challenge. What do you remember about the challenge other than Candace's coochie?
I loved the dilemma of you lift up the statue, there's a shield there. I get you can't really control which locations are found first. I wish the 4 shields was at one of the first locations, because then it could be like, do we just do it?
No, I liked it at the last. I liked it at the end.
For me, I think where there was 2 things of like,
here's why I think it was like that.
Go for it.
You have 1, and the first 1 or 2, you're probably gonna have people be like, no, it's okay, that's okay. As you go along, the temptation keeps going. You keep seeing more. You keep seeing more. In the event that one person goes rogue, everyone's mad and pissed off, and so they may still get that camera TV moment. And then at the end, you get that 4, and it's like, okay, we've dodged all of them. So you got your couple scenarios, right? Somebody may have went rogue, and now it's like, well, since you went rogue, we're gonna grab ours. Or now it's like, okay, you've dodged all of them. Now what are we going to do? At this point, we have the opportunity. It's not just 1, and one of us has to grab it and screw the others. Now there's 4. I don't see a world in which they didn't pick them up, actually. Natalie really wanted it. I could definitely tell. Colton really wanted it. I think both of those groups grabbed.
Well, they couldn't have. Colton's group had Candace and Lisa, and they said they didn't grab the shields.
When did they say that?
In the turret. Candace and Lisa said we didn't grab the shields because Rob asked, like, did you guys get shields? They're like, we didn't take them.
Oh.
So they're like, we hope the other group did.
I guess I missed that.
The reason why I think 4 shields at the first is, if that's the first thing you see, you can be like, well, there's gonna be another group who's gonna find 4 shields. If you find the first thing you open is 4 shields, you can be like, there's at least one other location that has 4 shields. Like, another team's probably going to do it. I think if it's the first one you see, I think you'd be like, guys, like, at least let's have a discussion, because there's going to be another group that's going to be facing this dilemma, and who's to say they don't do it? I would rather just know we're all safe. Like, I think 1 early, 1 late, but I also don't know, like, is this like Survivor with the hidden immune autos? Do they have to hide the shields on their person? Because they're all in like tight, form-fitting athletic wear.
Yeah.
Where are they going to store those shields? Like, stuff it in their butt crack? Like,
I mean, historically on the show, yes, they like put it in their pocket or something, but like, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it's like, do they symbolically say, we're taking the shields, and they pick them up and then producers take them? Because I don't know. Like, my gut is telling me no one grabbed the shields. I wish Natalie's group grabbed a shield.
I'm thinking, I don't know. I think Natalie's group may have. I really think if knowing Natalie, like, Natalie's not going to let that potential safety go away, especially considering the fact that gamers continue to be targeted. Why wouldn't she? Why would she not advocate for her team? Like, she hasn't been quiet yet, so why would,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just, because I think if Colton, like if the shields are there, I think they try and kill Colton, even though there's some heat on him at the round table. With him bringing up Lisa's name in front of multiple people, if he gets murdered, people can just be like, well, he was wrong about Tiffany, but maybe he was bound to be right. Like, I don't know. Like,
I do question if they're going to murder at all, because they were very worried about, I think they were worried about if Colton, was it Colton that they were worried about if he grabbed one or not? Because they were like, well, if we kill him, because it seems like they are aware that he will be made aware that the murder was attempted. It seemed like to me, based on what they were saying, we're jumping ahead to the turret, but it
yeah,
seemed like what they were saying made me feel like they knew that he would open a letter and see, hey, a murder was attempted, because that's how they've always done it.
yeah, I actually don't know in this situation because I'd have to go back to see other seasons when like people like because the pilot Pete in season 2 they did a trick where someone gave him or he gave someone the shield and then Parvati went to kill that person, but they had a shield and that's how they caught Parvati.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so
I'm saying the
I don't,
traitors
but I'm saying
aren't worried.
I don't think that person read the paper. I think they all just showed up at the round table at the breakfast table like no one was killed. And so maybe I can't remember. I honestly don't
I
remember what
don't
happened.
remember that. The only ones I remember is that the person sits and goes, "Your murder was attempted," which it hasn't happened in a while because they make the shield so freaking public these days.
Yeah.
That's
They
one
make them
element that I
private.
wish they would do a little bit more of, like the secret
They
aspect of
I
the
think
shield.
starting next week is like when they normally like at the midpoint they start
Yeah.
making the shields a private thing. Um
But backing back
so
up, so after the competition was over, they come back and they go to dinner, and Rappaport immediately starts melting down. We have quite a few moments that pretty much at this point moving forward. That's probably why I don't have a lot of notes, because it just kind of circulate. We're getting a lot of Rappaport attention, and I was pretty sure that he was just going to go with
yeah,
the
it was
round
my
table.
two it was the two people I think a lot of the fandom is like not
And
loving.
my prediction going into last night was that, like, after episode 3, I've said Rappaport's not making it past next week. Like, I knew that that wasn't going to happen. He got way too much edit. And then when he continued to get more edit, I was like, okay, yeah, he's gone.
I thought he was going to go in episode 6. I thought he was going to somehow survive these 2 rounds
Mm.
and then he would go, but I'm happy to be wrong.
Yeah, so he starts melting down, and then it turns into him and Colton getting into it. He keeps calling Colton a traitor. We see him eating really strangely. um,
2 things.
so
Can I talk about 2 things?
yeah,
First of
go
all,
ahead.
I thought it was so funny that Rob was the one who was just like, "Yeah, I think we're all voting Michael." And then Michael walks by, hears someone say that, thinks Colton is saying that, and comes in
Yeah.
and goes, "No, you are." And it's like, it was Rob who said it. Like, I thought that was hysterical. That was so funny to me. The second thing is a lot of people this season, and maybe I just don't remember, maybe I have short-term memory from like other seasons. They do a lot of, so what was Alan wearing in the turret? What was that like? Like they're trying to like get the traitors and I was like, maybe it's happened in other seasons and I just don't remember it. But being like, so does Alan show up in the turret every night? Like those sort of
Yeah,
questions. And
Jam
Michael's
Jam
like,
said that whenever he was saying, like, if you're a traitor and you know it, clap your hands. He's like,
that
is
was
that what you sing
Michael.
in the turret?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, but like they're all saying like I just haven't paid attention to it before, or like I don't know. But it seems interesting this season that they're using a lot of that sort of tactic of like trying to get that gotcha moment. Like I tricked you. Like it part of it feels like a tinge childish, but I also am like, whatever. Like when Colton's trying to get him to like say that and like being like, was that what happens in the turret? Like it's just it to me it's just an interesting thing to point out because I don't know if I've noticed it before.
Yeah. So that brings us to the round table. So that fight continues, and then it rolls just on over to the round table. They sit down, and immediately, who was it that said it? Do we wanna address what
Candace,
just happened?
Candace, do we
Candace,
want to
yeah.
address the
Do we wanna
yelling?
just go ahead and address what just happened? Like, she already knew. She's like, do we wanna just talk about this? And then Michael just goes into, he's conniving, colluding, and commiserating. And when he said it, I went, did he I thought I misheard, because I was
Yeah,
like, commiserating doesn't make sense.
like
But I thought I misheard. So I was but then he kept saying it. I was like, no, he's saying it. And then in my head I went, what about criminal? because that's a C word that goes well for Colton. And then and then he just keeps doing it. And finally Rob's like, okay, dictionary police is coming out because I'm tired of this. That makes no sense. That is like, what did he call it? He
Well,
said
because
that's
he's like, commiserate is to like feel like someone. It's like to like
yeah, but I can't remember what
feel
he
sorry for someone.
said.
And he goes,
Yeah,
I
he said
just like
something about to like mourn someone or something. I
yeah,
can't
to
remember
mourn with
exactly what
someone.
he
Yeah.
said.
He says like
And I
he
don't
said
know
the
if
correct
Michael
definition.
Rappaport meant like we're going to commiserate you after you're gone. Like I don't know what he meant by it, but either way, it made no sense.
But
Um,
to me, the funniest thing about that whole thing is not even that like Michael said it wrong or that Rob spoke up. It was that Rob is sitting there with overalls and a no shirt, being like, "That's not what that word
and he goes,
means."
God, it's just getting on. I can't take it
I was
anymore.
like,
Like,
this is why this show is so entertaining to me. I'm like, you're telling me you've got this F boy in overalls and
yeah,
no shirt correcting
a
someone's
snake lover at
grammar,
that. A
like
snake lover.
it to me. I was like, this is why this show is magic because like there's no reason why a snake charmer from Alabama is correcting like this
Not a
guy.
snake charmer from Alabama.
like it to me, like that's the fun of the show that I'm like, this is so wild, like that this guy is the one doing the grammar correcting on the show. Like that was what was so fun to me.
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
agree.
that's
I fully
hilarious.
agree. Fully agree. Because my next notes are I said, "Oh shit, closet remark." And then I said, "Not Rob R with the dictionary." So then Natalie's like, "Let's just vote him out of here."
Yeah,
She like
like,
says it out loud. She's like, "Let's just vote him out of here." Cuz
and
I
I've
don't
seen
really want to
a
talk about that remark. If you want to talk about the remark,
yeah,
then
no,
yeah.
I was just like, to me, my thing is the show edits things a lot. Like it's an edited show. Seeing how viscerally it made everyone feel, the fact that Natalie was like choked up, I feel like he said a lot more. So that's kind of
We'll
like
find
my
out.
2 cents.
I have a
Yeah,
feeling in the coming days there'll be um
excess or something.
yeah, Tiffany
Yeah,
of course will be able to see some. I haven't watched the Heavy Crown Network's podcast episode. I intend to
yeah,
cuz I know that they talked a little bit, well they talked a lot about her exit. So I'm sure we'll get some exit interviews. We'll get some BTS from her
yeah.
specifically. Um
I
we'll
just feel
we'll
like
see.
there was more than what was shown for Natalie to be that emotional and upset when she got there, and the fact that even Eric was like, "I don't care, let's just get like everyone had kind of just like given up. That I feel like they were just
Yeah.
done and over.
Okay, moving on. So, Natalie's like, "Can we just vote him out of here?" And then Rappaport's exit was just as I thought it would be. So they do vote him out overwhelmingly. However, this is the votes that we wanted to talk
Yes,
about. I also would like to talk about this because my next note says Lisa and Candace voted for Ron. Bad move, TBH. I think that, listen, if the whole, not because of game, the whole table, I guess it does come back to game, but the whole table almost didn't do it. To me, like that's an easy thing later to be like, we all hated Michael. We
yeah,
all stood up for what Michael was saying, and yet Candace, and I also know all these, something else may come out next week or whatever. And then I also know that she did this, and then that was sus that she didn't vote for Michael. I'm just saying, if it was me, I would not have stuck with the Ron thing. That would be the one time that I think it's acceptable. You just, because not a single person, when he gets up, that's why I said it, his exit was just as I thought it would be. Um, he gets up and not a single person gave a shit that he was a faithful. Like typically it's like, oh man, like we didn't get a traitor. And for him, it's like, okay,
yeah. Johnny
fine.
Weir didn't even turn around. He just like stayed looking the other direction.
Yeah.
Um, I thought for Candace this was the absolute right move because she has been thumping for the past 2 days. I just want to see this theory through. Like even when it was Tiffany, she just goes, I've already said we need to figure out if Ron is or isn't. And I feel like the group is not going to hold that against her. And the fact that there were 5 votes on Ron meant that there were 5 people that were like, at least 4, because one of them was Michael. There was at least 4 other people, like Lisa, Dorinda, and was it Steven? Were those the...
Dorinda, I know, voted. I do not know about Steven, but Dorinda,
Steven was
yes.
the 5th vote. Yeah, I just looked it up. So, because they were like, I know Candace and Steven were like, we just need to go in with a plan and follow through with it. That I don't think they're going to hold it against them like too much, in my opinion. Maybe Lisa, because it's like, Lisa, you were swayed at the round table to vote out Portia, but now you're not swayed to vote out Michael. Like, what's up with that? Like, I could see that world, but also I do think Lisa is playing poorly at the round table. Because Colton did say, like, is she always this quiet? And Dorinda's like,
I think Lisa's
no.
playing poorly in general.
Yeah, the morning
she's safe because
best,
she's with another housewife, but she's playing poorly in general.
I think in the turret, the decisions they're coming to are right as a group. So I think she's playing correctly in the turret. I think elsewhere she is playing poorly. But
I don't know if she would come up to all the decisions that I don't think she's playing a good game because I don't know that collectively in the turret, sure, who cares? But you got 2 other people that are influencing you. By herself, she is not playing a good game, in my opinion. Like her demeanor is off, her acting is terrible, which is rich coming from an actress. And it's just not great. But in the turret, it's easy to be influenced by what Candace or what Ron want, and you're bouncing ideas off of somebody. You're working collectively. She's good at working collectively with them and listening to them. I do love that Candace and Lisa Rinna are both willing to listen to Rob. That was one of the fears when I saw him picked. I was like, I don't know, they may not listen to this guy. And I also didn't think that he would be as good as he is, but he's fantastic. He's probably the best trader of traders
yeah,
this of
yeah,
3.
what I will say is like Lisa's really good at making connections with people. That even if she is like not being her normal self, the fact that Colton is the only person so far 5 episodes into the season to be like, something's off about Lisa. That even the people who know Lisa are like, you know what? That makes sense now. Like, I think she is playing a really good social game that people are liking her and enjoying her. And I think Colton now raising the suspicion on her will cause lots of people to side eye her. But there's enough push against Colton from like Kristen and a few other people. There's still people who want Ron out. That like, while I do think she's of the 3 traders, I do think she's the one that has the most work to do, and she is in the most precarious spot. I don't know if it's the end of the world. And also maybe I'm just reading into Survivor editing that I'm like, they're giving us a red herring. They're giving us, maybe Lisa goes next week and then Colton gets murdered overnight and nothing happens to Lisa. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But
no, I think the attention is too heavy on a few of the faithfuls. I don't think the traders are in any risk anytime soon.
Yeah, I think if the group listens to Colton mount a defense against Lisa that soon after getting Tiffany out and then being the center of the, like, a lot of people might just go, guys, Colton can't just run everything. Like, we've got to make our own decisions. Like, they might push back and say, let's just get rid of Colton. Let's follow Kristen or a couple other people who suspect things. Or, you know what? Let's finally go through the theory of Ron. Like, Ron 9 Lives Funches is still here. Like, I do think, I don't think Lisa goes next episode. I do think she lasts at least 2 episodes.
So who do we think gets murdered? So we don't know who gets murdered yet. So do we think there's going to be okay, yeah, I'm thinking so as well.
Yeah. Although I wish Natalie's group would have grabbed a shield.
We know that there's going to be a new twist.
Yes.
I'm interested. I don't know much about it, but I'm interested.
I've seen clips of the UK because they're a couple of weeks ahead. There is this new twist where there's like a confessional, like they're in a church. I don't know if you've seen clips of this.
Oh, I'm Catholic. I'm so excited.
There's a barrier inside this cathedral. The traitors are on one side, and the faithful that week wins a power. They get to ask one question.
Like the Seeker last year.
Kind of, but they don't see the traitors. They say, traitors, and they get to talk freely to the traitors, and then they ask a question, and the traitors write an answer on a piece of paper, slip it under the barrier, and they get their answer, and then they burn it. And So I wonder if that's the twist, because they so far every challenge has been, and the twist of the secret traitor has been mimicked from Traitors UK, because they film in the same castle and they both film over the summer. That I wonder if it's going to be that sort of twist, which I think will add intrigue and drama to the thing, and also the traitors will be like, "Don't laugh, they can hear us." So I wonder if it's that sort of twist of like, I get to ask a question, because apparently on the UK traitors, spoilers, one of the faithful had caught on to one of the traitors, and she said, "I'm going after," and she said the name of the traitor, and it was actually her, and they wrote no. They're like, "Is it okay if I go after this person?" And they said, "No, you can take her." And so, like, that was her answer from the traitors. Okay, great, I'm gonna go after her. And she's like, "I know you're there." So it was like fun intrigue and fun drama. So I
So that
wonder if
makes me wonder if the challenge is going to be one of the church challenges then, since they're doing the
they showed that they're in the one in the cabin. They're out in the woods. They showed,
oh, the cabin.
but I think someone there. I don't think it's that. I think it's the bug challenge where people are trapped in a room with bugs.
Oh, lovely.
But I think
It is
someone
about
there
time we do the
wins.
bugs.
I think someone wins like a singular, not instead of a shield, they win, or maybe they win a shield and they get to ask a question or something like. Because it's one person wins the advantage.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm excited for next week. And at this point, we're only going to get one episode each time. So these recordings are going to be a lot easier for me moving forward. This one was really long, and I really appreciate you sticking around for it. Is there anything else that you wanted to, that you thought you had on your notes that we didn't cover? Especially
I
on the
would,
last episode that we buzzed through.
yeah, I would say to me, there's three clear front runners to win. Obviously, Rob. I think there is a world in which Candace could win with Rob. Um, I think the most likely faithful to win right now, and maybe it's just because I know her the best, is Natalie. But I want to talk about quickly the Kristen, Eric, and Mark conversation.
Wait, before you say that about your front runners, I wanted to say one thing.
Oh,
I
go for it.
do agree with you on the potential recruit of Mark Ballas. I think that that clocks, and what I would see happening is Lisa Rinna going and then them recruiting Mark. That would only make sense. I also got those vibes when I saw the TikTok video.
Mhm.
Also his video, you may not have seen it because it was back like Dancing with the Stars era, like right before he did Dancing with the Stars was when this ended. Or right before Dancing with the Stars started, because this filmed like in
In
like
May.
May or something. Yeah. So then after that, he was like reeling into like getting prepared for dancing. Um, but he did one of those. That was back when like the plane videos were really popular, like the whisk. Ba 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 da ba 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 da. You don't know that audio? Okay. Well, people would they just hold their phone and they're like, "I'm on a plane. Let's see how many brands comment," or "I'm on a plane. Let's see." Okay, so he just it was that started trending while he was away doing the traders. So when he was on the plane, like I don't know, his energy on that video felt like, okay, you do well. So that's all I wanted to say about the front runners. I think that he may inch his way up on my
Yeah.
list.
I think my first thought was when Kristen, Eric, and Mark had that conversation in the little banquette, that little bench seating in the foyer. I was like, this feels important because they're all rather obscure characters. And I think Kristen's logic of like, I think it could be Colton, and like we need to work towards that, even though it's the wrong logic. Like she's like trying to get groups of people together, and the fact that Mark was like, I don't know, like I feel like if you're willing to disagree with someone, you trust them enough to be like, hey, I don't actually agree with you, but I want to keep talking to you. That something about that trio just feels like it could be something.
That area is like the place where I think Mark has been holding it down. I've seen a lot of we don't see much of what he's saying on the first three episodes, but we see him involved in those conversations at that area, like with Donna Kelsey and with Steven and with Ron. Like he really people aren't discriminating against him. Like they are willing to give him their conversations. They're not waiting till he leaves the room. And the fact that he looked at Candace after Colton left and was like, are you okay with doing that? Means that
Yeah.
he is involved in conversations regarding voting. We just ain't seeing it yet.
Yeah.
So I feel good about that.
And Mark has seen, I think, every season of Survivor. He's low-key a gamer appreciator that I think he's gonna step up and do something. So yeah, that was like my last thoughts. I'm like, those were sort of my front runners. I feel like that trio could be really important. I'm wondering who gets banished next. My gut is saying Jam Jam.
I thought Jam Jam was going this episode, honestly. These episodes.
Tiffany did like, I hope you get rid of him. That to me, I think it's gonna go down to Colton or Jam Jam. Because
I'm thinking Colton. I hope Colton. Like I'm just, and it's not even about the past. Like I'm like whatever. Like okay, like the Sandoval of it all. For example, I'll give Sandoval as an example. I don't know if they cast Colton as like the Sandoval of the season, but like this is gonna be so bad and sound like I'm standing up for Sandoval, but like Sandoval did bad things and people were not excited about him. However, when he came, he advocated because he was on a PR, he wanted better press, right? I want to be a faithful. I want to prove that I can be faithful and da 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 because he was very unfaithful in his past. So he does that. And yes, he made a few slip ups of the tongue that like he got lashed at, but like other than that, like
everybody vote for Tom.
Yeah, he was so like just genuinely trying to just be there, be helpful. Like he came correct, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Colton's not like coming correct. And that clocks back to like what I said before is like, he's willing to take accolades when he's not always deserving of them. And that's just like it's just showing that Sandoval was showing that maybe I've changed a little. I don't know that he has. I'm just saying that was how it was perceived on the edit, but I'm just not getting that from Colton. And Sandoval gave us like some fun, like the like that was funny. That was great. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. He gave us some funny moments that like we loved to hate him. Like we couldn't hate him, because it was so funny. I think he even brought that out at BravoCon. I think that they brought at BravoCon, I think they brought a doll and he was like, hello.
That's funny. Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, that Mark Ballas has good potential to move up on my front runner list, but for now, pretty much all the traitors are at the top of my front runner list. And that's
and Natalie.
And Natalie, yes. Surprisingly, Natalie,
I thought she was going to be the first gamer gone. So I'm so happy she's still here.
I don't think they know her. I don't get the vibes they know her.
Which is crazy. 2 seasons of Amazing Race, 2 seasons of Survivor, The Challenge, winner of Survivor, runner-up on the all-winner season, but everyone's like, Jam Jam won this game. And it's like, so did Natalie. Like, I love it. I'm happy for her.
Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate you being here, and I will be back next week. Do you want to plug so Ryan's a TikToker. Do you want to, and he's a comedian.
You follow me on
your
TikTok?
socials.
It's at Ryan on all social media that's relevant, which is Instagram and TikTok and Threads.
Threads is Threads relevant?
I just repost whatever I put on Instagram there. But then I don't use them. I struggle with social media other than the 2 apps that I am making a concerted effort on. There's too many. I can't focus on all of them. TikTok. So I post reality TV content on TikTok. I post my comedy stuff on Instagram. I keep them separate.
All right. Well, see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.